Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. We are so grateful that you are joining us. I am Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and this is Rockin the Love. We're happy you're here. We're excited. This is our first Wednesday in April, which I understand is the 5th of April, actually.
Can you believe it's April already? April. It's craziness. Where did it go? It's almost summer.
It's almost summer. That is correct. Pretty crazy.
It is crazy. For those of you that don't know, I am in Oakland, California, and my husband, Reverend Gil, is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So we are doing this show long distance, and we are experiencing relationship in a different way these days, being apart from each other. So
No kidding.
this show is about relationships and our relationship to everything, because the truth of the matter is it all comes down to love. So no matter how far you are from someone you love, you still can relate to them and be in relationship. It just sometimes we have to redefine it. So we're glad you're here, and we'd love it if you would leave us, say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from. If you're here for the first time, it's a very good day to be here because we have a special guest, Verona Garland, who is she is just a treasure chest of goodness. So, so
He's
I'm
a
excited.
friend, a colleague, and a motivator. All those things in one.
And a teacher and a student. She's the bomb. So anyway, we are going to get to her in a few minutes, but before we do, how was your week, Mr. Olmsted?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was going to ask you the same, which I will do in a moment. However, my week has been very full, and I have all of the family here except for you. So
It's a divine
uh,
plan.
it's a divine plan. Yes, I know um, at some level, I know there's a lot of yippee yay going on over there. But it's been a good week. We've had fun. I did have an experience last night. For the first time in my life, I went to a ball game, ate peanuts and popcorn and French fries and chicken fingers, and lost weight. Basically, because I was shaking the entire time. It was just above freezing when we left the game at
Wow.
the end. But season opener for the Isotopes here in Albuquerque, and they won in the
Yay.
last couple innings. They went ahead and won, so it was exciting.
Oh, good game. So, for those of you that don't know, our marriage is based on uh, breaking stereotypes. So, Gil could live his whole life without going to another baseball game. And I, on the other hand, am a baseball fan. So, I can tell you exactly when opening day is in several parts of the country based on my teams and things like that. So, I'm glad that you did it. I'm glad you had fun, and I'm glad.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Missed you though. However, I honestly believe, in spite of your baseball enthusiasm, that had you been there, you wouldn't have been very happy either. Because it was cold.
I don't know. I don't know. It would depend. Yeah. I'm nothing personal. I for the Isotopes, I might not have been quite as enthusiastic. For my Dodgers, I've been there in the rain, and I'd be there in the snow because that's
Well,
the girl I am. I'm loyal. Anyway,
a
enough.
lot of snow at Dodger Stadium. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, my week is good. It's interesting because no one's here. We live with our godkids and our sister, and no one's here. I'm home alone. And what I found about that is that I am so capable of filling every minute. I'm like, it's crazy. Yesterday, I started at teaching at 10 in the morning. Oh, no, wait. I had a meeting at 9 in the morning. I started teaching at 10, and I didn't get home till 10 when my last meeting ended at 7 and then I had a dinner appointment. So I'm like, this is exhausting being home alone. There's too much free time. I texted a friend and I said, I don't know how I ever had time for a marriage. I mean, I am out every minute, but it's all good. It's good. Anyway, so that's been my week.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, I somewhat relate, except on the other side of that.
Yeah, you're busy. You're busy
I'm
homeschooling.
busy, 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 and trying to get the work done and do the other stuff, but it's all good. So,
So, in a time in a land full of busyness, we sometimes forget about all the good things going on.
that's
And
right.
we only talk about or hear about the bad news, and people get stuck in that rut of thinking we're all going to hell in a handbag. So that's why we like to bring you this segment called Here's the Good News.
Here's the good news. All
Yay!
right.
You got
Okay, I got plants talk.
okay.
Done a study in Israel on and recording at levels above human hearing, and they are actually able to detect particular sounds from particular plants based on particular things going on, such as they haven't had water in a long time, or they've been trimmed, or those kinds of things, and it changes how they how what sounds are emitted and how often. And the exciting thing about it for basic stuff is that this could actually support agriculture in determining when plants really need water and these kinds of things. Um, but it's also just that moment of peering into that there's so much we don't know. There's so much we don't know. And who's listening to this stuff? Are bats and insects listening to this? Or what's going on? Are other plants like having a chat? I don't know. But it's really fascinating. Really fascinating. I
That
thought that
is
was some good news.
it is good news. It is fascinating. And it reminds me here in California where it's been so windy and so rainy. And I mean windy, trees coming down all over the place, big old trees that have been there for years, like the mountains coming down. And I was looking at my neighbor's yard and she had like 2 tulips spring up. And I was like, isn't it fascinating that here are these 2 flowers and they survive it all? Like 50 mile an hour winds going and everything, and they're blowing back and forth, but they don't break and they just stand there, they just keep their ground. So it's interesting to me, like, because I mean, what you're saying is really the thing we say, right? It's all alive, it's all one, it's what we say, and it's just more science to back it up. So that's super cool. I think that's cool.
Right.
So, do you only have one story today or two?
That's what I got today. I'm going to stick with that one. I like that one.
All right. Well, I have two
All right.
or so. And it's really hard because when you start looking for good news, you find it. And then there's so much of it. So, this first one is about 2 guys in Delhi in India, and they have designed um, a replacement for polyester packaging, and they're making it out of rice stubble. And the rice stubble is the dead ends of the stalk that are left over after rice season in India, and millions of tons of that is burned every year.
Yep. Yep.
So the wisdom, they say, came out of the mouths of babes. The one of, I think, the guy's young nephew, he asked him to draw a picture of the world, and he drew this beautiful picture with a gray sky, and he thought, that's not right. Everything else was normal. The grass was green, the sun was yellow, white and brown mountains, but the sky was gray. So he was like, it dawned on him that that's what his nephew saw every year when they burn, and it burns for like all up and down the country in India. So he thought we shouldn't have a world where we need to explain this to our kids. And he's already prevented over 500,000 pounds of this stuff from entering landfills since launching his product. And so I think that is great news. It gets me very excited, like that everyone is really conscious and working on things like that.
The first time I moved to Northern California, north of Sacramento, in the burning season, it was horrible. It was horrible, and they finally implemented various laws and changes to outlaw that and to change how it's being handled. But it's great to have it not only being handled, but become a useful, valuable product. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So they've made the packaging hard, and they're selling it to people, and not only that, the consumers, the farmers are now making money where they weren't making money because they're selling the
stubble. They're selling the stubble. I need to do that. I need to sell some stubble. Anybody want some? Okay, sorry. You any more good news?
Okay. This is where you'll see a marital moment when your husband tries to be the comedian. Yeah. Okay. So, yes. So the other good news was there was a church in Georgia who they realized that the state lunch, the kids who get lunches from the school, the school was in debt like over $13,000. So the church said, let's just see what happens. And they mentioned it when they took the collection. And within 2 weeks, they had raised $23,000 to go towards lunches for kids at school. And so as I was looking at that story, I clicked on another story, and I saw that it was the same kind of story, that in Seattle, the same thing had happened, that they were trying to, a guy had set up a GoFundMe for $20,000, enough to pay off all the debt of lunch debt racked up by families that can't afford to get their children's lunches. And actually, if you were on that list, like you hadn't paid your lunch thing, then they switch your meal. It's called, and there's a name for it now. They call it lunch shaming.
Nice.
Yeah. Humanity strikes again. And they give you like the cold cheese sandwich instead of the hot meal or something like that. So it's much less nutritious. Anyway, so this guy started a GoFundMe for $20,000, and he got up in the morning and he realized somebody had donated $5,000 to his thing. And he was like, my God, who's that? And the guy's name was John Liu. And so he went on an internet search, and he, tried to find out where he could find John Liu just to send him a thank you. And, because the guy had donated a quarter of the goal. And long story short, he found out it was John Legend. And John Legend, Luke wrote him a thank you note, and he said before he signed the thing, he said, by the way, are you also known as John Legend? And he said, regardless of who you are, thank you, you've helped a lot. And John Legend responded, yes, it's me, and that no child should have to go without a lunch. So I thought it was a cool story. Because sometimes we think that, not everybody's paying attention, or that, people that have don't always give or whatever. So I thought it was just super sweet that somebody was that in tune. So yay. And we want to welcome Kent and Linda, who are watching from Concord, and agree that plants have consciousness. There you go. Are you frozen?
Yes.
That is your hand. Okay. All right. So, but you could hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So we just welcome Ken, Linda, and I think it's a good time to take a break since you're having a technical difficulty. We'll be right back with our wonderful guest today, Reverend Verona Garland. So stay right here on New Thought Media Network. Hello, welcome back. This is Rockin the Love, and I'm Robyn, and he's Gil. He's frozen. It happens. What can I say? So while he works that out, I am going to welcome our guest for the day. There's not enough that I can say about our guest, Reverend Verona Garland. She is an amazing woman, and I didn't think about doing this intro, but what I would tell you without telling you her credits. Oh, there's Gil. Maybe he'll tell you her credits. Without telling you her credits, I would tell you that this is someone who leads with her heart and has so much integrity that it's infectious when you're around her. So welcome, 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 Reverend Verona Garland.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm so excited to be here with two of my dearest friends.
Yay.
Yes,
We're glad to have you. And Reverend Sherry Lynn's glad you're here too.
Hi, Reverend Sherry Lynn.
Yeah. It's a party. It's a party. All our favorite people in one portal of the world.
One portal.
One virtual portal. Anyway, so Reverend Verona, our topic today is The Answer Is You. And this is based on a class that Reverend Verona will be teaching and a book and a TV special by Michael Bernard Beckwith. So tell us what it's all about.
Well, what it's all about is each one of us. The answer is you. You know, these times I loved first, I want to say I loved the beginning of the show. Thank you so much for the good news. It's spectacular. It felt like an injection of energy and enthusiasm of the divine. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And also thank you because it's wonderful to watch your loving relationship as it unfolds in its perfection and in its joyousness. However, the other thing about this class, the answer is you, is, a lot of times we're expecting someone else to help us out. We're expecting someone or something else to bring us out of what we may consider to be turmoil, tumult, upsettedness, or even happiness. And the bottom line is the answer is you. The answer is each one of us. Whatever is the question is, if there's a question, then it wants an answer. If there's an answer, then it wants some action. And whatever is that action from within each one of us, that's the answer. And sometimes it's easy to turn to your mate or your adult children
Yeah.
or your coworker and say, well, could you help me figure this out? Or what's up with this? Or, oh, well, why did this happen? And really the answer is inside each one of us, because when something comes up, that is the consciousness of that entity wanting to emerge in form, and the form it wants to emerge through is each one of us.
So there's no getting away from it.
No ducking, no hiding. No.
There's no ducking, no hiding. And so it's really, so I think that the key to that, it's really a discovery, right, of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It is, absolutely. It's a discovery of it's an inward journey, that inward journey where you get to realize, oh, I came with lots of gifts. I came with lots of skills. I came with lots of talents. And now it's my opportunity to surrender those talents to the world, to surrender it back into where it came from. So it is a discovery of who and whose you are, and an inward journey for all those things that, at least for myself, I won't speak for anyone else, that I may not think highly of about myself, and really get to realize and know it is all good. It's all there for a reason. And it all intermingles and interacts with itself for the ultimate unfoldment, the ultimate emergence, the ultimate manifestation of who we are. Yeah.
And Reverend Verona, would you say that you have been on this journey to discovering this, to more than discovering it, but bringing it into your life and utilizing it for quite a little while?
Yes, Reverend Gil. I have been on this journey, actually, officially allowing myself to say I've been on this journey is around 3 decades. However, I realize now, when I look back in retrospect, I've been on this journey since I was old enough to know who I am. And that was for me like age 4 or 5. Really, to know that my life is committed to spirit, to know that, everything that's happening here is happening in faith and trust and love, and to understand that. And yes, this journey, it's a continuous journey. I've been on it for quite a while, and it amps itself up. It realigns itself. It readjusts itself. And I'm always surprised at the me that comes out, the me that shows up. Yeah, especially since sometimes I have had, up until now, I have had somewhat of a tendency to want to hide behind the invisibility cloak of, oh no, it can't be me. Oh no, I can't be wisdom. Oh no, I can't be mysticism. Oh no, I can't be power. I can't be a leader. So yes, and so it's showing up in so many different ways now, kind of peeking out sometimes, like if you have a door and it's not in the frame completely, and there's that light that comes through. That's how sometimes it's showing up for me. In other ways, it just comes blaring out. So yes, I've been on this journey for quite a while, on this knowing that the answer is me. And I've found, when I first came to Science of Mind, New Thought, Ageless Wisdom, Agape, that it's about self-responsibility. It's about understanding and knowing, something I didn't always like to know, but the reason your life is this way, you chose it. Yeah.
Bingo.
Yes.
I think that's so fascinating. I think that's such a fascinating question of when you really became aware of who you are. I think, like, hearing you say, 4 years old, and I don't know what your answer to that question would be, Gil, or if you're still working on it. But I just, like, I'm thinking about how we really know so young.
Mm-hmm.
We really know so young. And so when I was listening to you talk, I'm thinking, even if you have had self-doubt about being a mystic or being a teacher or being the bigger vision of you have never played small in your clothes, in your dressing, in your, you show up and you sparkle and you shine and and so I'm wondering, like, when we really know, do we compensate on the other side somehow by not giving up somewhere? Do you know what I mean?
Ooh, yes,
You know,
yes,
there's
Robyn, I love
places
that.
where we don't back down. So because you show up and you are big, whether whatever you think doesn't matter, you know. But I mean, isn't that interesting, right?
I love that, Robyn, because it's so much more introspective. That yes, while I thought I was showing up invisible, I really haven't been. That
Right.
there's a me that shows up, and just for our viewers, Robyn and Gil and I know each other really, really well. We've been friends for a very, very long time, and so they really can see the real me and known me through a lot of things. Yes, when I show up, I show up.
Right.
And it took me a while to ease myself into, or to be in a place of recognition and acknowledgement that the showing up wasn't just about the outer shell, but the showing up was about the spirituality of me too, and being that, standing in it. Yeah.
And I would even venture to say that even about the whole idea of moving into practitionership and being a minister, that you've shown up in your work, in your customer service, in your stuff, and shown in ways that other people just don't, because that's who you are. And what I thought of was the crack in the door. It's like, that's where you see it. You can see through and see there's something going on there, but you don't get the whole picture.
Yes, Gil.
It's like we
Yeah.
let parts of it out in certain places because we kind of got to express it, but we still don't. I don't always want to grab on to the part that I know I'm really, really called to be about somehow.
Yes.
And
I love
it's all about my choice to do that. It's not about anybody else's. It's about my choices.
And yet we can't hide it. We can't hide it. I mean, we still see it in each other. Even, for example, even in my not wanting to go out and speak, I have the two of you going, come on, Robyn, like, you've got something to say. It's like, right? I mean, or, the way we support each other because we can see it. Just like Sherry Lynn just said, wonderful energy. I love your cute, loving energy. I loved you from our first introduction. It is the God showing through you. Right?
Thank you, and ditto. Thank you. And Robyn, what you said is so true when you said that about you, because it is the God showing through, like all of us. And what you said about Gil and I encouraging you to speak, there's a radiance and a brilliance about you that cannot, it does not allow itself to hide, and so that we know that in this case, the answer is Robyn, the answer is you, or the answer is Gil, or the answer is Verona. Yeah.
Book your Robyn at your center today. Thanks, Michael. That's our producer.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Well, it's funny. But going towards that, I'll say, so what happens is in my, this isn't supposed to be about me, but whatever. What happens is, in my mind, I go, okay, yeah. But I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way. I want to act. I want to do voiceover. I want to do this. I want to do that. And Spirit says, speak on Easter.
You are more than this.
Exactly. So it's like, sometimes we hide the light based on our own agenda. Right? And
yes, absolutely.
And the answer is you in every moment.
And when I was a girl,
did you freeze? No.
Okay, we're not frozen.
No, we're not frozen. We're all good.
When you were a girl.
Oh, when I was a girl, my mother used to always say to us, don't hide your light under a bushel barrel. And I was raised in an agricultural state. And my grandparents had a farm. So it was, like the bushel barrel thing. It was real to me. And I pretended that I didn't understand what it meant. However, whenever I got an opportunity to sing or speak or bring different groups of people together, I jumped right on it. And just what you said, Robyn, it's that thing. I had a different idea, and then spirits plunked me on the head and said, okay, here's the real deal, girly. Yeah. Here's where this is going. And by the way, you get to have fun on the way. You get to have fun and be filled with joy and just love it all up all along the way. Yeah.
That's so huge. So the answer is you really comes back down to the fundamentals of how do we get out of our own way, right? Yeah, it comes down to, stopping having a placeholder in your story and not moving forward.
Exactly. Right? And some of the ways we can do that is some of the questions that are part of the book and the course. The answer is you is, how can I give? Or how can I grow? Or how and what can I celebrate? Because every day is something to celebrate. Yeah. Even the things that seem crappy, something to celebrate. Because we all know behind that is a blessing, or underneath that, or the substance or the content of it is a blessing. So as we get to know ourselves, how can I grow? In what ways can I grow? Like for me, in what ways can I grow in my speaking? In what ways can I grow in my teaching? In what ways can I grow in my relationships? Since I'm here with Rockin the Love. Yeah. What ways? And it's wonderful because we know each relationship is about love. It's all about love. And ultimately, I was reading your information. Of course, I know this about you. It's all about love. So in what way can I grow in the lovingness that I am? And does it start with me loving me?
Absolutely.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay. No, go, Gil. Go, please.
I was going to say, it strikes me that I think as humans, we so often go through our lives trying to get control over what's happening, trying to figure out what's supposed to happen. And like Robyn says, getting a picture of what it's supposed to be and then trying to make it work. And then we get disappointed or it doesn't quite go the way we want it to go. And then we look for what it was that was wrong out there in the world and why we didn't get what we wanted, when it's totally backwards. The reality is we do have all the control, and we don't know how to channel it. We don't know how to grab hold of, okay, this is how am I going to address this? What am I willing to learn? What am I willing to be open to? How am I willing to show up in a situation that to me doesn't look exactly like the one I thought I was going to be in? And my sense is that's part of where you go, and the answer is you.
Absolutely. And part of that too, I love that, Gil, because part of that too is, and in what way do I allow myself to be the power that I am?
Yeah.
Because that word power can have a lot of different connotations, and not all of them always are what I might call quote unquote positive. So yeah, in what way am I allowing myself to be that power, to radiate that power, to shine that power, and really embrace it? Yeah. And embody it and love it up within me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I would say, it's such an interesting dynamic when we start to embrace these new thought teachings and live them. And I would say it's even, will you love yourself enough to really let go of everything you've ever learned or anyone's taught you, or what you are a victim to, what you are buying into, what like the teacher that told you, you're too old to do that, or you're not good enough to do that, or those kind of things, or things your parents have heard, all those stories, or the voices in your head. The voices in your head are I don't know. I mean, they're the worst. They're the worst things ever, right? And we have control over that. So can we let that go and instead, because the voices in your head are in the past.
Yes.
They're in the past. You're not in the moment if you're listening to the voices in your head. They're independent of you. So can we let it go and step into what we know or feel or want to embrace as this newness and the answer to your dreams, right?
Exactly, Robyn. And it takes this. I love this quote by Neville Goddard. It takes loyalty to unseen reality, which is better known as faith. That I, in this present moment, can let go of just what you said, the voices in my head, the mind, the mind chatter that has taught us all these things. And perhaps when these things were taught to us, it might have been for good reason. It could have been for safety. It could have been for security. It may have had its own reason for being in our lives previously. However, can I stand in the now and know that all is well and go from there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could remember it. I just read last night one of the Ernest Holmes meditations in Science of Mind 365 for April 3rd or 4th. And the last paragraph, he just nailed that concept about what's in the past. And if we're hearing that and we're still acting on it, then actually we're now creating our future so that we then are going to repeat, that whole thing. I was like, wow, he just said it so succinctly. It was like, wow.
Well, I can say that one of the things Reverend Michael says is that you are not a consumer. You are not buying what other people say about you. You are a creator today. That's who you are. So you get to create the new, which is similar to what Ernest Holmes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. And then also this goes along with the concept of, so I release the past and I release the future. And I just get fast centered in the spirit that I am just now, right here in this moment. Yeah, because I love what Ernest Holmes said and about creating our future. However, sometimes I can get stuck in the future. I can get stuck in the what ifs. What if, and not realize, well, what if it all turns out in a way much more spectacularly than you can envision in this moment? Like you said, Robyn, that I'm not listening to all the other riffraff, so to speak. That's my word. It's not a judgmental thing. It's just listening to all the other information that's being given to me. I am standing in the creativity that I am, and that's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that is hard to do these days, with media and all the different things that come into our consciousness. Kent says the difference between what we want versus what we need. Our wants can create limitations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Kent, I'm so glad you said that because, of course, I think we can all agree on this. Some of the things I have wanted, I am so glad Spirit did not give them to me. Some of the things I was just sure I wanted so much I could taste them. I'm so happy that that the plan within me made itself known, that I opened up to the plan within me. Yes. Yeah, I agree, Kent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes that feels painful.
Yes.
Yes, Robyn, it can, in me, sometimes it has caused a crisis of faith. Not a big, humongous one, but just a crisis in my mind of, okay, so I'm doing all my spiritual practices. I am being the being that I know that I am to be. However, it's still uncomfortable if I don't get what I think I want. I don't get what I want. And even though I know that it can come, I know in my mind, but that little 13-inch journey between my mind and my heart sometimes is a hard place to be, to know that the wanting that you have is the desires of the heart of spirit from within. And there's more for you than your human mind can wrap itself around. And I agree with you, Robyn. It's hard. Yeah, it's challenging.
Well, and it's challenging because we don't know what we don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's where the trust comes in, that I need to know I need to know that I don't have to know. That's kind of counterintuitive.
And Sherry Lynn says, walking this path, I recognize when opportunities come for my growth or to move me forward in life. I say yes, even in the fear. I know it takes me to my true self. I am grateful for God for the uncomfortable opportunities. There is freedom in it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes the things come along that appear to be perfect, and then they don't, quote, work out. And then things come along that you think look really good, and they become one of those things that challenge you to move forward. And yet, each time, the question is, have I followed what's coming forth in me? Am I focusing on that versus what my mind is trying to tell me about where I should be or what it should happen or how it should look? Even if I'm in a situation that doesn't feel the best, if I'm in it, and just because it doesn't look how I think it should look, does that mean it's an issue? It's an opportunity for me to grow into it, or to grow beyond it, or to have to say no and step away from it, or whatever the thing is. It still creates a new opportunity for me to grow.
Yes. And I feel like that's where the trick is. That's where the rub is. That's where the awareness is. Can we do that? Can we not become a victim to the past? Can we stop with the complaining or the angst in our minds around it and the story we spin? Because, especially when we're in New Thought, my experience is we like to give meaning to everything. Can we be with it and just acknowledge it as something that's happening and not have it be good or bad or life building or whatever? Just let it be what it is and keep moving with it instead of just letting it take us down or listening to the opinions of others or listening to the negativity. Can we keep moving in a direction of our higher goals?
I love that.
Good. Will you be teaching that in class?
I'll be teaching that and so much more. We'll be talking about that and so much more. And one of the things we'll be opening up to too is what Sherry Lynn put in the chat. Fear. It shows up, instead of running and ducking and dodging and hiding from it, just allowing fear to show up and say, okay, you're here, fear. What did you come to teach me? And bless the fear and bless it on its way, like activate its movement into the outflow of our lives for that particular situation. Yeah. And just what you said too, Robyn, I love it. That something we'll be talking about in class too, is that we need not, in our New Thought Ageless Wisdom teachings, we need not have every single thing that happens. Oh, there must be some consciousness behind that. Oh, there must be some reason that that's happening. There must be, oh, let's go grab our Louise Hay book and see what this means. No, just what you were saying. Be in it, stand in it, even revel in it, and know, like Gil was saying too, there's some growth happening here. And this growth is propelling us forward in ways that's already set. That in class we'll talk about too, in ways that I have already accepted within myself. And now, yeah.
Yeah. You're making me think. Thank you.
That's why we're here together.
And Myrna has joined us. Welcome, Myrna. Hola. Bienvenidos.
Hi, Myrna.
And she said she got here a little bit late, but she's been listening. And she said many years ago, she took a seminar from Landmark, and they say that humans are meaning-making machines.
Yeah, I'd say they got that part right for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, everything has to have a meaning. There has to be some reason. And that's why it's so easy to push people into places where they will put blame on different groups or that kind of stuff, because there must be a reason, there must be a meaning here. And if I don't right on the surface know what that is, but you give me one I can point to, I'm good. You know, and generally speaking, we like to point out rather than back.
Yeah, and I think also it takes us back to our stories, you know, which, I mean, maybe some are good, but some are not, you know, some are negative or they keep us stuck somewhere. And I think that, you know, if you're complaining or you're stuck in that negativity, then it's like you spin away from your where you're trying to get to, you know.
And Robyn, I agree in that if you're complaining and griping and carrying on, being stuck in the story, and I know that feeling of being stuck in my own story, then it negates, or it just dissolves and dissipates the truth of what I really am, because I'm in the story, you know. So all the things that are wanting to emerge through and as me come to the planet as one of my gifts or talents, the story diminishes it. Yeah. And it's easy to stay in it because it's a place of comfortability. Whereas, as we've said before here today, sometimes we get to step off the edge into a place of seeming uncomfortability in the knowing that the answer is me. Yeah. And it's not easy. Oh, it's extremely rewarding. We know that it's rewarding, it's satisfying, it's enthusing, it's satiating, it's fulfilling, and all those things if we take a chance.
And how am I going to show up here? What am I going to do? You know, for me.
Right.
Yeah, a little example of that was the first Sunday I was officially in person here in New Mexico. Robyn says to me, just go out there and do it. You can't, you need to show up fully, and it doesn't matter. and you know, the thought behind that is, yeah, I need to not be editing myself, trying to be something that someone else might want me to be, that I don't even know, you know. But that's our tendency, right? Is to figure out, oh, let me figure out what are they going to like? What are they not going to like? What, you know, instead of what can I bring? What can I bring?
And but I think the brilliant thing about what you just said, other than the fact I said it, was that what you did. I mean, the way you understood that message, what you did brought everyone into that place. Because so what Gil did was he showed up in a suit and tie at church, and of course, everyone who had seen him candidate was like, oh my God, because he was all, you know, dressed up, and they were like, oh my God, are we going to have to start wearing different things to church nowadays? You know, and all of that. And he greeted everyone at the door and was very, you know, cordial. And then before the service started, he was, you know, out of the room. And when he came back into the room, when they announced him, he came back in shorts and what did you come into? A Hawaiian shirt and
Hawaiian shirt and swim trunks and flip flops
and flip flops
and my boogie board,
and did the service, you know. And so it really gave them that sense of, okay, it's on, here we go, we don't know what we're going to get, and it's fun and it's exciting. And it was Gil, you know, it was Gil. And then he did a powerful message, but it really spoke to, like, I am more than this. I am not what you see. I am not who you think I am. You are not who you think you are, because you're a reflection of me. So we're all in this boat together. And so, I mean, I think that's really important, because that was the authentic you. I mean, even though you were scared to do it, like, oh my God, it's the first service and I'm going to go out in flip flops. You went through it, and it had nothing to do with that. It was the energy of it.
right?
The energy of you being your authentic self. Yeah.
And I love that. First, I didn't know about that, Gil. I just love it. And it puts me in the mind of just in what we're talking about, being your authentic self and what do I bring, and what can I give? I was raised a Southern Baptist in Iowa. Okay, pretty conservative place. And now here I am, New Thought minister, and one of my cousins made his transition and his sister asked me to conduct the service. Well, all the way on the plane from California to Iowa, I was nervous. And when I got there, here I am now conducting my cousin's celebration of life at the Baptist church where I grew up. And yeah, at the Baptist church where I started, I was in the baptismal pool, little 5-year-old me. Anyway, and so I show up there and I had all these things going on inside of me and I was so nervous. And the minister, even when the minister of the church greeted me, said, "Oh, you're a woman and you're New Thought. Well, we'll see how this works out." Yeah. However, what became clear to me, and it just was an infusion, just like what you had, Gil, with the Hawaiian shirt and the flip flops. When I actually got up there to do my cousin's celebration of life, and he was one of my favorite cousins. It Spirit just infused me with that same thing we're talking about. Just bring you. Whatever it is you bring, just bring you, because this is about celebrating all of us. And it's about also just what you said, Robyn, showing all of us that we can be something other than what we think we're quote unquote supposed to be, or that we can, that we can bring something that we may not have even thought was ours to bring, or might even overlook as something about us. And just to finish it all up, when I was finished, a lot of the people who were a lot older than me, who've known me since I'm a little girl, came up and said, "We're surprised. We like that." However, whoa. And then of course they had to say, because it's kind of a Baptist thing, "And you kept God in it." That was great.
You kept God in it.
Yeah,
God's still there.
yeah, God's always there. So yeah, it goes. I mean, I hadn't thought about that in quite a while, because this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but it goes along with exactly what you were explaining, Robyn. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is you stood in the place of, I'm invited to be here, and I need to be, if I don't bring me, then I'm not going to be doing what I was asked to do, really.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm sorry, I just have to share one more, because it reminded me of when you got hired over at East Bay Church of Religious Science, and you were meeting with Reverend Sherry Lynn, who wasn't Reverend then, but Sherry.
Me?
And
Yeah.
And the couple of women, and let's just say that the environment was a little uncertain about Gil, and hostile. But when he had his meeting with Sherry Lynn and the other two women, they asked him questions and and grilled him and blah 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 blah. And then when they went, this always cracks me up. But when they went to pray out from their meeting, they said, "Well, you pray us out. you the new big reverend guy." And Gil went, "Praise Jesus." And began his prayer, and everyone fell out, because it was that moment of Gil. It was authentic Gil, because he was breaking attention and an unspoken thing and a whatever it all spoke to. It was that moment where he was allowed to be him. Sherry Lynn is laughing, and Myrna said before that you were being authentic, Gil.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, but that's what it's about. All of us being authentic, right?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it.
Us knowing who our authentic self is.
Even in the midst of places where it feels a little uncomfortable, I mean, especially. I think that's especially, yeah. And that's part of the key, when we're uncertain because it's new, or where we've experienced a little bit of pushback, or we're showing up, in our home where, of course, no one can go back, but yet we do. And, there we are.
There we are. So it's really about developing an awareness of all of these things, and then beginning to cultivate them. And I don't want time to go by without sharing that Reverend Verona is going to be teaching this class, and anyone interested, why don't you tell them how they can contact you and also sign up for the class?
So how you can contact me is on my website, www.veronagarland.com. And the way you can sign up for the class, The Answer Is You, is go to www.agapebayarea.com. The class starts on the 11th of April, and it's for 5 weeks, and it's on Zoom. And it's 2 hours from 6:30 to 8:30. And we'll be exploring all of these things and so much more. We're using the wonderful book by Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, The Answer Is You, as Robyn said earlier, from the show, the PBS show, and the book and the audio component. Yeah, so we are there to have a play date in spirit and unearth and discover and excavate and recognize the truth that is a part of each and every one of us, that the answer is each one of us, and each one of us is this wonderful nugget of truth just waiting to be seen and known.
And the class is on Tuesday nights?
Tuesday nights, yes. The class is on Tuesday nights from 6:30 to 8:30. Yes. On Zoom.
On Zoom.
6:30 to 8:30 Pacific time, correct?
Pacific time, yes. 6:30 to 8:30 Pacific time for everyone all around the globe. 6:30 to 8:30. It's 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. Yes.
All right. And I understand for people that, may have already signed up for that, they're already into it or whatever, that you just might have something else you're cooking up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Gil. Yes, I am a prosperity mentor. It's my life's work. It's my life's learning. And so I'll be starting on May Day, the first day of May, an abundance adventure. It's a 21-day journey of reestablishing the habit of source and supply in and as each one of us. And it is a really wonderful, quick thing every morning for 15 minutes from May 1st to the 21st at 7 a.m. and 7:15 a.m. Pacific time, Pacific Daylight Time. We'll be doing some prosperity fun things, some prosperity affirmations, some prosperity activities, and you'll also have growth work to take out into each day for just allowing ourselves to know that each one of us is the opulence, the luxuriousness, the limitless supply of spirit awaiting form in and through each of us. And for that, the sign up will be on my website, www.veronagarland.com, and that sign up will be up within 48 to 72 hours.
All right.
As you can tell, as Sherry Lynn said in the beginning, you want to play with Reverend Verona. It's a great place. It's a great place to get to know her and just to put some of that infectious spirit in your life. And if you have that much joy, you have to let go of some of the worrying and some of the other stuff that we've been talking about you don't need in your life. So I encourage you to do that. And thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Verona.
Friends, brother and sister. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. And we're so glad you are here. And thank you, everyone. Our time has flown by. And we are about ready to say goodbye until next week.
Yeah. Thank you all for being here. And just be with where you can take the love out into your day. The world needs it. The world needs you. The answer is you. So take it out there. We love you.
Keep rocking the love.